Opportunity for public input. Was there anyone?
No.
Moving on to items of the consent agenda.
Within our consent agenda, we have 4B, the minutes of the previous meeting on April 28th for your review. We have the financial report and bills for the month of April 2021, in which we have $477,536.42 in receipts and $1,968,592.70 in disbursements, with all of the line items to follow. Letter D, we have a first semester Phi Ed intern. Luke Pradle has been offered that position, looking for board approval. That is something that we have done for many years here at Platteville. Beginning next year, we are in the process of finalizing a biology intern. So that will come before the board here shortly. Letter E, new co-curricular positions. They are at the class 8 on that matrix for color guard instructor and assisting marching band director to improve with the instruction and also with the amount of interest that we have. This would really improve our ability to supervise and keep it safe for those students. Letter F is the resignation of our one act play director. And letter G would be the policies being brought forward from the Policy Community Outreach Committee. 400s, we're still in those student-centered policies. The one of note for the full board is 441. We have an existing policy in which each year we would have a student representative on the board. We don't practice that. So we're in the process of deleting that policy, but we also have a rule that will go in front of the committee when they meet again, and that rule will be attached to policy 171 about board operations. And what that rule then does is encourage student involvement. So if we have something that's coming through and we need that student input, that encourages for that to occur.
So motion by Kurt, second by Colleen to approve the items on the consent agenda as presented. This time we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. At this time I'll entertain a motion and a second for the information and action item agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Vicky to approve the action and information item agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Information and discussion items, graduation update.
Before you have a summary of what the ceremony will look like on that Sunday in June, and then I would gladly allow Mr. Craze to field any questions or to further fill in that information.
Are there any questions, or I can kind of just go through it in front of you there? It will be an in-person ceremony where you're going to be set up for pods, which kind of maximizes our seating. So every graduate will be given a pod, which consists of 4 tickets. And then we'll have the opportunity for graduates to request additional tickets, which will be general admission in the balcony. So that was communicated to the seniors today. We had a senior meeting. We have another senior meeting next week. So we'll follow up with kind of the logistics of that from the seniors' perspectives, when they arrive and things like that. We have selected the speakers and are working diligently to make sure that all the seniors get to the finish line.
Will we approve the graduation as presented?
It's just an information item.
Good.
I'll take that as a compliment, though.
It's that good.
Any questions for Mr. Craze? ESSER projects.
This will be a standing item, I believe, for quite some time, and we have in front of us the projects that were proposed, that we approved, and we Dimitri and the business office, has submitted that, and we found out Saturday morning that everything that we have proposed has come back approved. So, well, we have the HVAC projects are lining up for the summer, and everything else as far as the stipend that we provided for our staff was approved, and then those positions that we used this year were also approved.
Actually, I have a question about, and I don't know if this is something that would be a future board agenda item, but either way, we're almost right there. So I appreciate that we are adding a second counselor at the high school, and I think that's a good step for what I'm about to ask you, but I was wondering if any thought has been given to directing some of the ESSER, I guess it would be 3 funds at this point, towards social emotional support for, personally, I've just noticed an increase in kids in our district that are struggling with many types of problems. I don't want to name any specifically, but a huge uptick. I don't think it's all COVID related, but I'm sure that some of it is COVID related. Also, it was brought to my attention, well, it was, I guess someone asked me, I don't know the answer to how much trauma-informed training happens in the district, and if there has been any additional, given the fact that some of our students may have been in a position where they were at home more with less than optimal home circumstances. And so just if there's any thought given to directing some of those funds to the social emotional piece. I know that a lot is being directed towards the academic piece, which is wonderful, but just so that we could think about that as a way to spend some of our ESSER funds as well.
Yep, and what you're hitting on are some of the themes that as we move forward. And the difficult piece with ESSER 3 is it's not finalized yet, but we are building it to address that social, emotional, and those mental needs that we'll all need help with as we start next school year.
Thank you.
So at one point, I know, and I'm not sure if it was just the middle school staff, but I know, I think maybe the health educators or physical education did a mental health first aid training. In the last 2 years, there was, I know a group of them. And go ahead.
Yeah, we had Mr. Foley, who was trained in trauma-informed care, actually trained and presented to the whole staff. That was last, I remember, 2 years ago, I don't know, they all blend together. But I'm trying to remember if that health or if they did something separate.
I know the university, former department, had a mental health first aid training by one of the former students over there that was all working. So I thought I can remember Riley and Maureen talking about them. I don't know if it was during there. I'm not sure. But that it's a great program because again, it's treating mental health like you treat any other injury. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not something that needs to be addressed. So I know there have been different variations.
And I wasn't around for that prior to, but it really rings a bell for what may be round 1 or round 2 of that Department of Justice school safety grant. A big part of that was to continue. So we do have really two forces aligning to address this as well. Anything else on the ESSER projects?
Moving on to future board agenda items. Seeing or hearing none, we'll move on to action items. Approval of the high school 2022 France trip.
Yeah, in your board agenda, you have the itinerary, and I've invited Liz here to explain, walk through quickly as far as what the trip looks like, and if the board has any questions. So please, Liz.
So, hi everybody. So this will be my 5th trip that I've organized to France. It's a little bit different in that I'm proposing that we go over spring break instead of in the summer. So it's a little bit of a shorter trip, and unfortunately that means there won't be a homestay, which has been part of our trip in the past. There's just, well, I have something else going on next summer, which is a really cool thing, but so then we just decided to move it to the spring break instead. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. So the trip would be proposed to leave the Friday of the first day of spring break, well, before spring break actually starts. We would fly out and fly into southern France, into Nice, and spend 2 days there. We'll do some touring of the French Riviera, go to the city of Cannes, where they do the Cannes Film Festival, do some hiking, and then we'll take the TGV, which is the high-speed train, and go up to Paris. And then from Paris, we would take a day trip to Normandy to go see the D-Day beaches and visit the historic sites there, and then go back to Paris for the last few days. Most of the stuff is in the proposal, but so yeah, that's what I'm proposing that we do. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll move to approve the France trip as presented.
Second. Motion by Vicky, second by Kurt to approve the high school 2022 France trip as presented. Any additional questions or comments on that?
I do have one quick additional comment. I know I was chatting with my colleagues, Sarah Wentland and Hannah Harriet today. They are also planning on offering a Spain trip for next summer as well. They're working on a proposal for that, and I expect that that will be in front of you within the next few weeks as well. So.
Thank you. If there are no questions or comments, we will vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Personnel, new hire, 6th grade reading teacher.
The candidate before the board is Kimberly Mauro, and she went through the interview process and has the experience to enter into that 6th grade language arts position and be a champion for our students next year. So the administration is recommending her for hire.
So,
Second. Motion by Colleen, second by Matt to approve the hiring of Kimberly Merrill as 6th grade reading teacher. Questions or comments on her hiring? Seeing or hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. New hire, high school counselor.
Same process as far as trying to recruit, and through that process, we have in front of us Chandra McCarthy Cardoso, who currently is a counselor up in the Wautoma School District, but was certainly our candidate of choice, and fortunate for us, she grew up nearby on a farm in Highland, so it's a coming home for her and her family.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Matt, second by Vicky to approve the hiring of Chandra McCarthy Cardoso as high school counselor for the upcoming school year. Questions or comments on her hiring?
I have one question. I know that counselors wear so many hats. When there are two in one building, will they kind of distribute those duties, or will they both do everything? How will that?
What will happen is they'll have to almost do a strengths-based assessment of each other and then work with the administration and see, maybe one of them just loves scheduling. And yeah.
Oh, is she a robot? She's a robot.
So that's kind of what they do. There isn't as far as you're 9, 10, you're 11, 12. We're a large high school, but we're not that large, in which that would be beneficial. We'd want them to have those relationships with all our students. So that is to be determined as we build through the summer.
Sounds good.
Additional questions or comments on the hiring of the high school counselor? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Resignation, high school special education teacher.
Resignation from Caitlin Carr as she has accepted a new position at the Monroe School District.
So moved.
second.
Motion by Kurt, second by Jen to accept Caitlin Carr's resignation Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Resignation, Westview third grade teacher.
Peyton Deutsch has submitted her resignation. She is a position that we added this year to keep our class sizes down. And going into next year, that position is no longer needed.
So moved.
Motion by Vicky, second by Colleen, to accept Peyton Deutsch's resignation. Questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Upcoming support staff appointments.
So the support staff appointments, these are letters of assignment, so it's an annual event. This is not a contract, but it is a letter of assignment. So for the employee's point of view, this letter assures that their position will be in place when we start the school year next year. From the district's point of view, we have our staff handbook, which has the protections for the employee. But also from the district's point of view, this protects if somebody were to try and get unemployment during the 2 months that they're not working. And this is an annual event. What we've done is updated some of the language. And the big change is to take any mention of a contract out, and it's a letter of assignment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Colleen, was that Matt?
Yep.
Motion by Colleen, second by Matt, to approve the 2021-22 support staff appointments as presented. Questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
One abstention.
Abstention. Motion carries. Business insurance renewal.
An annual event in which our business insurance offers, here's what the rates can be for next year. There's a short summary included. The reason for the increase in cost would be the derecho that came throughout the Midwest. And with that, we have such a good relationship with John Gibson and EMC Tricor that it wasn't a consideration to go out for another bid. The increase wasn't that much. And when we look back and reflect at the expert level and immediate service that we receive from John Gibson and his team, we are recommending this as our insurance renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Vicky, second by Matt, to approve the business insurance renewal as presented. Questions or comments on that? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. CISA 6, Center for All.
So in front of us, we have a draft proposal from the Center for All. So this is an idea that's been working through our committees, and then last time in front of the full board with Kim and Dimitri presenting from the Center for All. Some of the changes that we have made from that draft last meeting to this meeting would be increasing the IDI work, those individual surveys that you take, and then once it's analyzed, an hour of time in order to work through that. That increased from 30 to 60, and what we did was we added the members of our guiding coalition to that number. A lot of the other items are similar. A question that was asked last time was, okay, we have this 3-year plan, are we lockstep? No. What we do have is a proposal for the first year. As we get towards the end of the first year, that's part of their process, is to get to know our district and help guide us, ask those questions as far as where do we need help, where should we target those presentations and that training. So year 2 might look similar to this, but there could be adjustments as far as who knows what the future may bring.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Josh, second by Kurt, to approve the CISA 6 Center for All contract as presented. Questions or comments on that?
So I do have a question, and I think I mentioned that in the email I had sent both of you. And the question was that can a board member, if interested, be part of that equity coaching for the leadership team? Because I think that's a good thing to do, but I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I am interested in some of those things.
Yes, so any of the trainings that they provide, for example, that the first training that they do to our whole staff, it'll be a half day when we start our school year. The board can participate in that. When they come in with their more targeted, let's say it is something that's just for our high school students, the board can come in. When anything that we purchase from the Center for All, the board can participate in all of that.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments on the CISA 6 Center for All contract?
So Jim, you mentioned that we can kind of take a look after a year of, what works for us and what doesn't, and maybe kind of pick and choose from some of the items that are itemized on this. Are we locked into that total dollar amount for the first year, or are we able to kind of pick and choose what we're going to be doing as far as the different, like the IDI, it looks like that's 14,000. The coaching of equity coaches is 1,500. Are we locked into those rates and every single feature of that in the first year?
Yes, we are.
Additional questions or comments on the CISA 6 Center for All contract? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Josh, second by Matt to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you one and all.